Abby here at Purple Cottage Crafts, and I have the biggest, cheesiest grin on my face right now. I am just so excited, you guys. So if you've been following me on my Instagram or on my Facebook Purple Cottage Crafts page, or here on my YouTube channel on my community page, I uploaded some photos and shared with all of you that I got published in Somerset studio. What is this madness? Oh my gosh, you guys. So what I did is I submitted a few different projects. I've always picked up the Somerset, let me back up just for a second. I've always picked up the Somerset studio, the different magazines, like whether it was a back issue or I found it maybe at, like, you know, those kind of vintage, rustic, antique type places that will sell like old magazines, old craft magazines and mixed media. I've purchased, you know, the studio. I have copies of the old stitch ones. I have the mixed media ones, the sewing, all those kinds of things. And so I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to I almost said subscribe to get a current magazine, because I was like, well, you know, I really enjoy looking at them, and I watch other people who share the projects and things that are inspired from their Somerset studio magazines, and I wanted to do something that's been on my crafty bucket list for years and years, and I finally bit the bullet and I did it. And so when I got my first magazine, which my first subscription, I think it's out here actually. Okay, for some reason I can't find the magazine. I could have sworn I stuck it out here. But when I go to edit this video, if I can find it, I'll put in a picture of the in the back of the magazine, in case you haven't looked at Somerset magazines before. In the back of the magazines, they have if you want to be published in Somerset Studio, and it tells you the whole process and what they're looking for, and then it has upcoming themes, and then they have like ongoing, you know, challenges, or not challenges, but different submissions and things like that. So under the upcoming themes, one of the three, was something, had stitching in the title. I forget what the title was, but I was like, how perfect for my very first issue, which isn't this one obviously, my very first subscription current issue that I didn't go buy at Joann's or something like that, that I got to my house. And the very first one, I went to the back and it had a you know, submission call for something that's been stitched. And I have been obsessed with slow stitching, as all of you know, for well over a year now. And it has made its way into every facet of my crafting and my life. Whether I'm just doing my Sashiko stitching, or I'm doing my slow stitching on my different projects, making my collage bits, all that kind of stuff. I thought that is like perfect. So that gave me kind of the courage and kind of the last like little push, like, come on, Abby, just give it a try, because you never know unless you try. I mean, you really don't. And when I prepared, and I already had all the things already done, they were some items that I had already completed that were stitched and stuff. And the item that got published was actually something that I had not ever shared with you guys, because I started it probably about a month after I first fell into slow stitching. I think it was, what, like November of 2018, I think it was. I can't remember exactly. And I never shared with you guys, because I was like, I don't know if they're gonna like this, because, you know, there's not a lick of purple on it. Not that that matters, but I wasn't making it for me per se. I was just trying to make something I thought with some beautiful laces and, you know, vintage laces and linens and whatnot. And so without further ado, let me get into where my item is, so I can show it to you what I made. Now, I did film a video, which I will put at the end of this one, that shows you what I was submitting. And I had said, sorry for the shadow, it's like, I got some shadows in my room right now. Sorry about that. I will hold this up and I'll have some better pictures to show you, because I'm not sure how good this is going to show. And I will stand up in a second. But I got my own page. I'm so excited. I'm sure it's just because of the size. It's not because it's me or anything. But anyway, so I did a video where I showed you this piece, and I showed you 3 other pieces that were like a set that I submitted, and I showed each one, and I actually showed the magazine in that video. I'm pretty sure, the one I couldn't find a moment ago. And I just kind of, I'm kind of nervous in it, because I was like, I don't know if I really want to share this, because you know, if I didn't make it in the magazine, I'm going to be honest and tell you, I was never going to share that, because I guess being embarrassed, I guess, which is probably kind of silly, but I didn't see any point in sharing that video if I didn't get it, because it would kind of be a moot point, like, you know, what's the point of that? But I wanted to film it on the off chance that I did. I mean, I in that video I say, you know, there are tons of just phenomenal artists and different mixed media people that are in this, and I was just like, I don't know if my stuff is going to be able to, like, what they're looking for, or be, their Somerset studio worthy. And it was, and that was a huge confidence booster for me. Not in a conceited way, because that's not me. I'm just saying that in case there's anybody watching this video first and you're just new to my channel. That is so not what I'm about at all. Anyway, so I'm just super excited about this amazing opportunity, and I will go ahead and I think I'll stand, it might be easier for me to see. Fold this over, and like I said, I will have better pictures. But this is the hanger, and this is just from Hobby Lobby, and let me back up. I sent my pieces in because I knew they would do a much better job of photographing because of, you know, the length of one of them and just the thread and all that kind of stuff. So I sent all of my items in. I will be getting them back, and when I do, I'll show you a closer video of this little, like, wall tapestry, I guess is what I'm calling it. But this is, so I don't have it here to show it to you right now, but this is just from Hobby Lobby. I got it in the aisle where you buy, like, the embroidery thread, sorry. And I just painted it white with just some Waverly chalk paint I had out, and I just sanded it down a little bit so the black showed through. So that's all that is. And then what this is here, it's just calling it like a wall tapestry. It's just some muslin cloth, and then what I did is I just did a bunch of stitching. There's like a old rusty key, added some different layers of lace and some different textures. There's lots of little seed stitching down here. All of this is hand stitched, and it took me a long time because I worked on it a little bit, and then I didn't touch it for a couple months one time, mostly because we were in a transition of moving me from the house temporarily out to my craft room out here. So I have different layers of fabrics. Some are vintage, some are not. Got some laces and just some different embroidery. That's some really super tiny seed stitching there. And I would use all 6 strands. Sometimes I'd use 3, just kind of depended, focus here, just kind of depend upon the look I was going for. And I think it's going to be much easier when you see the project, because I'm not sure how well this is picking up off camera, off the article, but just, you know, like, this is from Hobby Lobby, but I do have some true vintage applique and doilies in there. Some of the layers you can't really see right out, but I know that they're there. It's like when we do our layering for our cards and tags and journals and mixed media pieces and whatnot. So this is all stitched. Like, none of this is, like, the loosest stitching that's on this is what you see here, how this goes to here to here. All of this is just stitched all together, because I just wanted to do just tons and tons of stitching. And I'll be able to show it to you better when I have the actual project in front of me, like I was saying. So here's like some fabric. It's got some script on it. There's some different vintage fabric napkins, dinner napkins, some different appliques in here. Here's part of an applique. This is I think, goodness, Melissa Francis, some trim. And then what's this one here? This is just some edging off of another vintage linen. I just did some stitching on there, a little bit of some upholstery fabric in there. And there's a tag that I coffee dyed. This is a shipping tag. These are some of Timmy's little tiny texts there. This is a rusty safety pin, and I just had some cheesecloth, and I just kind of hand stitched that. And there's this really pretty pink embroidered trim that I got from some Etsy. It's just gorgeous. And then I just have layers. I mean, I think there's like 3 layers here. And this is some more vintage linen. Here's a half of a doily, and this doily is stitched down really well. And then along there. So, and I used a couple different hues of the pinks, but I mostly just stuck with a few different pinks, that chocolate brown, and then kind of the ecru or ecru, however you want to say it. I've heard it pronounced both ways. So, and I left the sides all tattery and shabby like that, because that's just what I love. That's just, that's me. So I'm really excited. And look, it's got my info down here on the bottom. I'm so excited. So you had to put in a little piece, and I'll put photos up so it's a bit better, like I said, but you had to put in a little blurb about how you did it. So it's just really cool, you guys. And again, I'm pretty sure, because the submission was due September 15th. So I did my submission in August. So I'm trying to remember from March, whatever it is right now, to back to August when I filmed that video that you'll see after this initial clip. I lost my train of thought. Oh, I was trying to, I just wanted to be known that I am in no way, shape, or form being a braggart or boastful. I'm just very proud of myself. I don't have the highest self-esteem, and that's been a lifelong thing for me. And so this was just a really big thing for me to submit. And like I said, I really, really did not think I would be chosen because just of the level and quality of the art that's submitted in the projects and stuff. I just didn't feel like I was good enough to be in there. And when I got the email a week before the magazine came in the mail, I was like, looked at it and I was like, Steve, can you read this? Am I reading this right? And I was just shocked. And so that is why I want to share this with all of you, because I share my life with all of you, my crafty friends. And this is part of that. And it's crafting, and it's part of my craftiness. And so that is the reason I'm sharing this. I'm not bragging or boasting like, oh, look at me. Nay, that's not what I'm doing. I just wanted to share this with you guys because you're my crafty friends and you all support me and encourage me. And I'm just very appreciative of all the support from all of you. And I'm not trying to make this like an Oscar speech. I'm just saying thank you to everybody for being patient with me and all my slow stitching and whatnot. So, and I'm gonna go and wrap this video up because the second video, I'm not sure how long it is. I don't want to make this too super long. So thank you guys so much, and please be sure to go check out Somerset Studio. And check out their magazine. So again, thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you guys next time. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Hello everyone, Abby here at Purple Cottage Crafts, and I am so excited and nervous to film this video. If the intended goal of this video actually comes to fruition, you will see this. If not, then we'll see. I don't know. So anyway, I am going to be making my first official submission to the Somerset Studio magazine, and I'm so excited. So I just actually signed up to start receiving this, and this was my very first issue that came in July. And I was thumbing through here, and we're definitely going to be doing, you can see all the tabs in here, definitely going to be doing some Somerset Studio inspired projects on my channel for sure. But I was going through the back here looking for what their upcoming themes were going to be for submissions, and what is on the very top? In stitches. I was like, what? So I am going to be submitting some things that I have made myself for this particular theme. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll work out. We'll see, fingers crossed. So these three here I've already done a full video on, so I won't go into too much detail here. I will link it below. This was a guest design team project. These three, my trio of hearts for Esme with a Crafty Me shop. And I did just a ton of slow stitching on here. I really want to focus on this piece because I have not ever shown this one before. So, but like I said, you know, I have a full video on these three heart pieces. So if you have not seen that video before, I will link it below. Okay, and then this is a piece I actually started when this was my second piece I started when I became obsessed with slow stitching back in almost a year ago. I think it was November of last year. So this was a panel I created, and it took me a while to do it because I was working on this in between other projects, and I never shared it because I don't know why. My intention was to do that because I was going to share with you how I did it. I was even toying around the idea of putting this up for sale to see if anybody would be interested in something like this. I wasn't sure because this is so different than what I normally do on my channel. Now this is a black hanger that I purchased from Hobby Lobby, and I just used some cashew or ivory, I forget which color, chalk paint on it. So it's kind of a cool little shabby look. But this is the panel that I made. And this is all slow stitched. This is all hand stitched. None of this is machine. and it's just a combination of some vintage laces and appliques and linens with new stuff. Like this right here is from Hobby Lobby. I'm sure you all recognize probably that. There's some sari silk. There's just layers upon layers of, oh, sorry, my arm was blocking the light there. It's just layer upon layer of stitches. And I'm going to kind of detail this a little bit, like I said, because I haven't filmed this yet. And since I'm going to be mailing these off, I'm going to be putting in return postage, of course, because I want my items back. But I don't know if that'll be for several months or how that process works, because I've never submitted to them before. But I mean, all of this is just hand stitching, and I'll show you the back side here in a moment. So, but this has just been truly a labor of love, just something I would work on, you know, on my days when I wasn't able to get up. And even underneath this ruffle trim here, there's still just even more stitches in there. So just lots of stitches everywhere. Some is seed stitching, some is just your regular running stitch, you know, so it's just lots and lots, even through this doily, which might be kind of hard to see because I use kind of a neutral thread, but I did do some stitching within that as well. So it's down there really well, and you can see the linen and all that stitching. So I used a few different shades of the pinks, and this is just some cheesecloth with a rusty, I almost said clothespin, safety pin, and then I just slow stitched on this little bit of scrap fabric I thought was pretty. And then there's some pom-pom trim, and even underneath here, if they want to peek underneath, it's even there too. And underneath the lace, it's all stitched underneath there. You're going to see all that. You can see the tiny seed stitching there, and I didn't plan on how this was flowing. There's a rusty, is that a rusty key? Is that one of my rusty keys or just a regular key? I think it's just a regular key. And I just kind of lassoed that on there, whatever you want to call that. There's a few threads off here on the side I need to kind of trim up just to clean up just a little bit, but because I had never done that, because I was going to do that when I share this with all of you, and I just never got around to doing it yet. So, but I will have some good pictures, of course, which I'll put up here as a slideshow as well. But I'll show you the back side so you can see all the stitching. So I'm going to be stitching on the back of this my information, so they know it's mine, and all the required information that's, you know, they want on the back of the pieces that we submit, or to include with the pieces that we submit. So there's that, and I think it's just really, really pretty. I'm going to zoom in so I have to hold it up so much. But I'm really excited. I'm going to remain positive. I know that there are probably literally thousands of people who submit to Somerset magazine for the different themes, and they have some that are they're always accepting. You know, there's always ongoing submissions. This one does have a deadline, so I wanted to get this done so I could make sure I made it within the deadline time frame. And I'm gonna zoom in just a tad more so you can kind of really see those stitches really good. And I'm just gonna see how it goes, you know, and I feel like I have, you know, just as good of a chance as probably anybody else that is gonna submit. Now I don't have like a ton of fancy embroidery stitches and different knots and things on here, but that wasn't a requirement. It was just different ways that you use stitching in your projects. And so I thought, well, you know, since that has been my almost obsession now for the past year, close to a year, I thought I might as well just give it a go. And if I don't, you know, yes, I'm gonna be, yeah, I'll be honest, I will be disappointed, of course. I mean, you know, because I'm really loving my pieces that I've created and I put a lot of handwork into. I didn't make these with the intention of submitting. I had no clue that that was going to be an upcoming theme, because the magazine didn't come to me till July, and I started this in November, and then the Trio of Hearts I did, like, I don't know, probably 4 months ago or so, whenever that was. I was a guest design, so I had no idea. I'm not sure I showed this part up close with this little, I loved how there was like this little tear in this piece of vintage linen right there, and I just kind of added, there's like some chiffon that you see on the side here, just kind of poking through, and there's also a piece of another piece of linen right here I kind of poked through. I thought that was cute. And then this is a coffee dyed, this is the top piece off of a coffee dyed layaway tag, and then I just stitched on this embroidered floral trim right here. So, and then I just did some more stitching right there, as you can see. I don't think I talked about the tag earlier, so. But I like the combination of mixing the metals and the papers with the different linens and trims, and the combination of using old and new. So I think this piece is very representative of me and my style, just because of all the layers and textures and the different mixtures of mediums. And then for this one, I just chose to use this piece of, oh my goodness, I just slipped my mind what I was going to try to say, of muslin as my substrate. So that's just what I chose to use. And are my knots and stuff in the back perfect? Nope. You can see right here, I'm not going to be embarrassed about it, but you can see here, I was like lazy. I didn't want to cut the stitch out, so I just stretched it across. No, that's not perfect, but that's okay. That's what I did. And like I said, I did this, most of this, the base layer, and then I added pieces on, so I had pieces pinned to this. I did it in different layers. I didn't film myself working on this project because, like I said, it was just my first one, and I was just kind of doing it just more for the experience of the stitching and the therapeutic portion of the slow stitching. So, but I definitely will be doing more of these slow stitched kind of, wall pieces, hanging pieces, and that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited. I still will submit this. I still will upload this video because I want to document this panel. If even if I don't get submitted, even if I don't win, or not win, but even if my pieces don't make it into the submission category for the, when is it supposed to come out? I can't remember. I think does it say what month next year? Let's see here. Okay, so okay, it just says upcoming theme. So I was guessing, I don't know which month it's going to come out. It just says upcoming. So I don't know when the decision's going to be made, or how, I don't know the process, if they tell you by email or something, hey, yeah, you made this submission, don't tell anybody, blah, blah. I don't know how that works, so I won't know for sure. I know that I've already shared these on my YouTube channel, my other social medias, and they said that was fine. I haven't submitted these for another challenge or anything, so I'm fine there per their guidelines. This one I haven't, like I said, I haven't filmed it before until this video. So, so keep your fingers crossed for me. Of course, by the time you see this, the decision will have already been made. So this may be several months down the road, I don't know. And we'll kind of go from there. But so yeah, I've got my fingers and toes crossed, and we'll find out if I make it into the Somerset Studio Magazine. If not, I am still going to be going on just fine, but that would definitely be the cherry on top of the cake if that was to happen for me. So anyway, I'm going to go and wrap this up, and be sure to check out the description box below for the link to my Trio of Hearts tutorial video in case you want to watch how get a little closer view of those hearts, since I mainly focused on this piece right here. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I'll let you know as soon as I know whether I made it or not. So I will see you next time. So happy scrapping, happy planning, happy crafting, and you can look forward to, of course, to some Somerset Studio inspired projects upcoming on my channel, because there are some amazing artists in here and just tons of inspiration. Obsessed. I've always had this magazine, like the back issues. This is just my first time to actually get my own subscription where it's current, is what I meant to say. I've been a big fan of them for years and years. So anyway, all right, I'm gonna go and wrap this up. So I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.